Hello, my name is Maya and this is Falling Honey. Welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't been here before, hello, I love you all, and if you all love me, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so this video, I don't know, it's inspired by quarantine Maya, the teenager Maya, the one that was fighting so hard to find something that was beyond herself. And what I mean by that is, like, in quarantine, like when everyone was trapped inside, I really tried to find purpose, and I already found that. I guess, like, I already found what I was, like, aiming for, like what my dreams were, what I desired. Like, those things I had solidified, what I wanted for myself. But there was something more, something that I was like, okay, but I want something more than that, like something beyond just like physical gain. And I think that was spirituality. And during quarantine, I mean, no one in my family had ever done anything spiritual. No one in my family is really a priest or a practitioner of a certain religion, and every single one of them that practices in Christianity were so solidified in the belief part that they didn't have any philosophical basis or reasoning for why their belief was placed in that religion. And I wanted something more than that. I genuinely desired a larger reason than just because God said so. And, you know, the way they grew up and the mentality that they had, especially like growing up within the Bible Belt, they had this they just had this acceptance of the world that things are the way they are and God made it this way, and you could definitely think that way, but why do you think that way? What's your basis in that? And they didn't have the intellectual capability to describe that, to express the why behind that. And I just, ever since, like, in quarantine, I went on TikTok and online, and I just saw all of these, like, witch talk people and people that just seem to have it all figured out, that exactly know which spell and which crystal and what astrological sign and what gods to pray to. And I just wanted that belief, but I didn't know how to get it. And for a long time, I did try to practice in those things. At some point, I just was like, no, this is also wrong. Like, I feel like this is also isn't correct. I didn't fall out with spirituality. I just needed a rebranding of it. Online media manifestation, TikTok, witch talk bullshit was not the spiritual clarity that I needed, but it opened me up to the questions. That side of media opened me up to asking more questions. And then when I went into college, and I learned about the philosophy of a bunch of different religions, I started to understand why some of these spiritual practices might even work, why crystals even have like a basis of working, why prayer and manifestation and meditation, why they could work, what's the principle behind them. Because witch talk and media just basically steals all of the techniques from a variety of different practices and squishes them together in a boiling pot with no real philosophical or basis of why it works. Peace can't be studied, it has to be understood. That is probably going to be the title of this video. Sorry about that, guys. I had to put my Sonny inside. Well, I didn't even have to put him inside. I just kind of scolded him, and he was like, you know, like, oh my god, no, I didn't mean to be in trouble, no. Anyways. Also, sorry if I'm touching the afro. I washed it the other day, and I really don't feel like doing it. So this is what you're getting, okay? Anyways, and it's beautiful, and you should accept that. Anyways, peace cannot be studied, it has to be understood. Spirituality is not a race, it's not a trend. I believe that, like, when children and when teenagers are trying to find that peace, and then they go onto TikTok, they're really trying to find that clarity and that stability within themselves, and that peace. And that peace cannot exactly be fully recorded or documented and put online, you know, so it can't be watched through TikTok or through a bunch of videos on YouTube. It has to be studied and analyzed and sat with for a long time of why it works. Why do you think that black obsidian works? Why do you think this symbol means something? Why do you think it moves people in some way? And people are usually like, well, because some person said so. And then I'm like, because if some person said so, okay, so why do you believe that person? Where does your belief come from? What is the reason behind it? Why isn't it bullshit? And the thing is that people go to all these tools to try to find that peace, and they try to justify why these tools work. Spiritual abilities of having peace or having intuition or having these things that all these influencers talk about, that comes from true alignment, and not even influencers, from yogis and gurus and passionate spiritual people like priests all across the world through millennia have spoken of finding this peace, and it comes from proper spiritual alignment. And you can't fight for that spiritual alignment. I read the autobiography of a yogi, and I can probably find 2 times where it said they have 2 texts, the Veda and then the Bhagavad Gita. Hold on. I actually think I have it on my phone. Yes, the Bhagavad Gita and the Veda. And I can name like probably 2 times where it said that you could study these texts all of your life and still not understand the weight and meaning behind the message itself. The same reason that I, like all of my family, can preach and recite certain prayers, can recite every gospel fully, and still not embody the love and the true message behind it. That's why I believe, like, if you're going to these sites or going to these people and expecting that their practices have a certain weight, you have to remember that there is some philosophical analyzation that you should have over these practices that are beyond what they are saying, like spells or symbols or sigils or rocks or crystals or burning certain herbs. You should ask yourself, why do these hold weight? Why does this hold weight? Why does it do anything? Why does this have any substantial reason to work? And you may say, okay, but if I believe in it, that's all I need for it. I truly believe that when you use a tool, and if you believe in it through pure willpower alone, it has some weight. It has some purpose beyond the physical, because I believe that we are more than just the physical body. We're the spirit, we're the mind. Some people believe that we even have an energy called willpower itself. So if our mind is beyond the body, then what our mind sees as powerful is also beyond the body. So the attributes that we believe that a certain object has because of its spiritual weight, technically would be real too. It would also have weight and reason and some effect in our lives, simply because we are part belief. We are part spirit. We are part of something that is beyond the physical that we can't see. If you believe that, you don't have to. And the thing is, I say this because, like, when I was a kid, I watch these people like do like the 7-fold manifestations. Like, if you want anything, you have to write this down a certain amount of times for a certain amount of days and all this stuff. And I of course, in religion, you have praying amount of certain time, pray for a certain amount of times in the day, and go to church every Sunday. We all have these ritualistic reasons for why these things work. But I don't believe you have to grind spirituality. You don't have to fight for a mindset, fight against your mindset. The stability and the control and the peace that you want comes from establishing a purpose or reason you truly believe in. That is because when your mindset sways, your clarity from proper spiritual alignment will ease the adjustment you have to make mentally. What the fuck? Okay. The ability and the control comes from establishing a purpose or reason you truly believe in. Because when your mindset sways from what you want, your clarity from proper spiritual alignment will ease that, and you can adjust your mindset because you've used the logic to prove why what you align with is true. Say you align with a specific religion and you're just kind of blindly believing in it by faith. that is great. But when it comes to everyday action, and say you contradict your belief and you contradict the mindset that your religion or practice tells you to uphold, you have to honestly convince your mind and fight your mind and realign your mind. And that's why you need to question your religion, because every time you do something out of alignment through metaphysical reasoning, you can basically realign yourself mentally. The true spiritual anchor of belief doesn't feel like the rigid praying mental strain and the aggressive manifesting you see in media, because it feels good. And in media, they'll tell you step by step by step. But if you are manifesting out of desperation and want and need, then that's also not the intention you want to put out into the world. Like, and you're like, okay, well, but I want things. The only reason I want things is because I feel like I'm lacking in some way in this area or this thing. And I'm like, okay, so why do I feel like I'm lacking in this area? There's a lot of things I personally want, things in the physical world, but I'm also content with dying without them. And like for a long time, I was like, okay, so do I have to manifest this, like, to get what I want? I was like, no, you have to work really hard. It's just like, okay, but like people work really hard all of their lives and still don't get what they want. So what can I do to get what I want? Like, what can I pray to the gods? Can I do this? And then but after that, it was like, okay, but like, why would the gods listen to me? Why would God listen to me? Like, why? What makes me important? You know? Then I just kept asking why, and then all of a sudden the belief didn't seem logical anymore. Then I went to philosophy class, and they're like, and then I learned about Hinduism, and they're like, well, God is in everything. Like, everything. He's in everything. So imagine how hard it is to hear the call of one fraction of yourself that you are and are not at the same time. Like, over the course of my channel, I've asked a lot of questions. Like, what do I deserve? Why do people even deserve anything? Does, like, people work hard all their life and gain nothing? How does that reflect? Why work hard? Why do anything? And I feel like a lot of people are depressed because they refuse to ask that question. They choose to ignore the big question, purpose. Why am I here? Why do I choose to do this? Is it for myself? Because it's for myself, then it's just like, well, the spiritual peace you're looking for cannot be documented or recorded. So you can't find it on media. You can't learn and reteach through TikTok hacks. Okay? Like, and it really, it doesn't bother me that people still go online and then basically just pick up whatever fucking thing they see and then try it in the real life, and they're like, oh, this doesn't work, or oh, this and that, or oh, it did work. And I'm like, I'm glad it worked for you if you believe it worked for you. If you believe it worked for you, yeah, it worked for you, you know? And then if you didn't believe it worked for you, then it's like, okay, well, people want to rush spiritual evolvement, you know? You can't rush that. It's like, I was delved deep into the spirituality for a long time, but without the philosophical questioning, you can't build an actual basis for your mind to land on. You can't build a foundation for your mind to really believe in that manifestation. It's like, okay, you can manifest all day, right? You can pray all day. Do you believe it? You can say it all the time, but do you believe it? Why do you believe it? If you're gonna say yes, oh, I do believe when I pray. Okay, why? Who's listening to you? How does he listen? But people forget that step. People just assume that because they ask, it's gonna work, but you don't even understand what being you're trying to connect to. Why are there separate gods? Well, how do you know what God you're praying to is the correct God? These are all questions I ask, like, okay, so how do I know if I'm doing this right? How do I know if this thing that I'm actually trying to connect to is actually listening? Well, if you are the being inherently, you are a small piece of that being inherently, then connecting to it is no problem. You have a conduit, your soul, that connects to the higher being. I've talked about this in previous videos. All of my videos, past videos, are a foundation for my mindset now. I have established multiple things. I've established that we are the ultimate observer. We're not the mind, we're not the body, we're not even entirely the spirit. We're in a culmination of the three, and we are the observer that's the inside, experiencing the three all the time. And I know we're not just spirit. Like, I feel like spirit is inherent, but we're not just that, because we can see and observe spirit separately from ourselves. So if you can observe anything separate from yourself, like your body or your mind, you can observe your thoughts. You could choose to believe your thoughts. See how your belief and your thoughts are two different things. That's the key that I had to discover. Whenever I thought negatively or fearfully on anything, I was like, okay, why? Okay, fear is an inherent state of the physical body. My mind is a tool that interprets it. My mind is the thing that interprets it. My mind is the tool, the newest tool, okay? The newest, brand new spinking tool from evolution, okay? That is here to interpret the world and help me grow. But because it's new, it's hard to control. The mind is hard to control. But I believe that if you can control the mind, you can control reality. Right now, I'm in the state where I'm observing the mind, because my mind, it just runs rampant. And for a long time, like, I had to learn that I am separate from it, and all my emotions are separate from it, especially if it's something that I can observe, then it's something that I'm separate from. And I was like, okay, but why? Why am I separate from the mind? What else is there other than my brain? People have to figure that out. Like, am I this thing that I am in my body, or am I something beyond that? And how does that help me? Like, I had to ask all these questions and figure that out philosophically, because I'm not gonna believe just blindly. Like, I can't do it, because if I try to form my habits based off of blind belief, I'm not gonna believe it. I'm not gonna actually fulfill it. If I'm gonna base my habits off of belief, it's gonna fall apart. The reason that you build habits is because you did it consistently, and that it had rewards that you could see consistently all the time. That's why you have habits, you know? I can't change my habits unless the reason I'm changing them is logical. And if you're trying to change for spiritual reasons and you don't have the philosophical basis, then that's gonna fall apart too. You actually have to, like, hack it. You actually have to, like, figure it out. You can't just, oh, they did it, so if I do it, it's gonna work. No, you have to sit and meditate for a very long time to even understand, like, what that peace you're fighting for is. Some people haven't felt that peace since they were in the womb, and then you're trying to find it. You're trying to copy it down. And I did try, and I know, and I did try, and that's why I'm making this video, because I'm basically just talking to a younger reflection of me. Anyone who's, like, going to all of these YouTubers and watching all of these videos trying to change your reality, I want you to do that physically. I want you to change your reality physically and get the mindset right, because it doesn't matter what you do physically, whatever spiritual tool you do physically, because that is just a conduit. It's one part of the puzzle, one piece of the puzzle. The spiritual practice is one piece of the puzzle. The philosophical study and understanding of it, completely different ball game, and takes a lot of effort and practice that I probably won't reach in this lifetime. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say that, like, I got it figured out, but I do know that there is something missing in a lot of people's lives. And it's not church. It's not a mosque. It's not a temple. It's a pier. It's an understanding that comes from the inside. That is beyond what a book can tell you, beyond what that phone can tell you, beyond what I can tell you. Like, my main message is that, like, sorry, this is gonna be a longer video. Please question and research of much of what you deem as spiritual and enlightening to build a philosophical foundation to create true belief, so your mind can adjust accordingly through metaphysical logic. True belief is something that I use all the time. It actually came from justified true belief, if you're fancy with it. But in Plato, Mano, and Phaedo, I think it was Mano, Meno, he describes of a traveler who comes across a village, and he's asking for a city. He's like, oh, where is this specific city? And passerby is like, oh, it's that way. And the traveler's like, have you been there? And the guy's like, no. Have you seen it? No. Have people been back to tell you? No. But, the traveler, the bystander is like, yeah, but our ancestors have been there, and people haven't come back to tell me I'm wrong, so I must be right. And the traveler goes in the direction this bystander says, and lo and behold, the city's there. The city is like the metaphorical version of God, heaven, the gods, prayer, whatever, like any sort of belief. Actually, it could be anything. Actually, it could have been an actual physical, literal city. It could just be anything that the passerby didn't really truly know was there, but had the belief was there, but was also right and true. That's why I believe that priests and special practitioners and spiritual practitioners can be right. May not practice perfectly in the way of God's eyes in every sort of religion, and perfectly in the eyes of specific other Abrahamic practices, but they practice in a way that connects and is right and truthful in some way, shape, or form. They can't tell you the distance. They can't tell you the terrain that's going to be on the way there, but they can tell you the direction. And I think that's what true opinion is, especially when it comes to spirituality. You can know what's right without entirely knowing how far or the exact logistics of the thing that you are aiming for, Yeah, but this whole video, I just want people to think a little bit more, because this world is very 100% or nothing, okay? As I said, it's very rigid. I mean, ever in school, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they have you set in a certain category, you with a certain amount of points. I mean, this whole life is struggle. They teach you to struggle since birth. Oh, you get a 100% the first year semester, and then you got to try to keep it that way. When it's 100% natural for that percentage to go up and down, but it's assumed that you should keep it at a stable, consistent rate. That is the struggle and strife that Taoism and Wu Wei that taught me to see. And that's what philosophy is. It just teaches you to see the specific ideas that people have that reflect the world. It just teaches you to reflect on the world and ask questions about the world. So when spirituality is shaken up, it has philosophy as a pillar to help, okay? Because not everything, because I can't be the person, well, why is this bad thing happening to me? Oh, well, because God said so. And if you are going to be that person, some people have that peace, and sometimes you look down on those people because it's oh my God, have a heart. But at the same time, everyone wants that peace. Everyone wants to feel like there's a natural justice and balance in the world, don't you? And it's hard, because then you go online and then you see, animal testing, animals basically getting tortured, or, a school shooting, or, a war across the world. You see all these horrible things and you're like, the world is awful. Why do we even, why this? Why that? Even in my spiritual quarantine haze, no matter how much I just tried to look for, all of these solves to just being happy to find that peace. I went online to try to find that peace. I went online to try to find any spiritual practice to give me that peace. But in the same place I went, I also found all of the horrible things that was causing me discomfort. So I want to tell you this. The discomfort. That's what I had to figure out philosophically. It's the strife, the anger, the horrible things I see in the world. What makes life okay after that? What belief comforts you after that? And it took a lot more than, just because God said so. It took a lot more than that for me. It's gonna take all of my life to really be content with the way the world is, but also have hope for the way it can change. Because the thing is that like, why is the world the way it is? Like, why is it so awful? Like, I was just so stuck on that. It was like, if God exists, why does he allow this? And then I see the birds, and then I see Cujo and the dogs, the cats, and my mom, and the trees, and the birds. And people are like, how could you compare nature to human suffering? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not God. I don't weigh what beauty is worth. We can't weigh that. Because when we see horrible things as people, we immediately try to weigh the justification of it. That's how I know I have a feeling that God exists. Because there is some natural element to feeling like there's need of balance. Every human has it. Every human has a desire need for balance. And people are like, okay, so why are people bad? If they have a desire need for balance, then why are they being evil? Because they have an imbalance within themselves that they need to satisfy outside of themselves. Okay? There's balance. And when we see horrible things, we need a justification. But we can't see how every action is weighed. So we naturally try to take the role in our head of the justifier, like Saint Michael, like the angel who judges souls. I think that's him. We try to take that role. We are like, the humans try to be that personification all the time, trying to see why God, and we can't see it, and it makes us so mad. So he must not exist. Like, that's the way I saw it. Like, he must not exist. I don't understand him. And then I think about it as like, okay, he's not understandable. There are aspects of him that are, and when I look into those aspects, they reflect me more, because we are a minute version of God. So obviously these derivatives of gods will also have some relation to us as well. That's how I explain that. And I don't really pray to specific gods. I do use specific names because I feel connected to them. Because as I said, when I was the same place I went to try to find that peace, not even for the dopamine or serotonin or the doom scrolling of just like, oh my god, so funny, huh? Like, I was genuinely trying to find either a community or just some reason, just some fucking rhyme or reason why all of this exists. Just give me a reason. Give me a reason. I want to see it. Like, I want to see what is worth all of the destruction. Like, as I asked all of these questions more, is like, okay, well, you're sitting here safe. Think of all the things your ancestors went through, Maya, and you're sitting here safe. That's some good. That seems like a little bit of balance. Think of all your friends. They're not going hungry. Think of where you stay. You don't have to read about God to see him. You know what I mean? You don't have to read about God to see him. All you gotta do is listen. Because, like, I still get angry at a lot of little things. It's the little things, but I'm definitely better now, and I will continue to get better. Little things used to get to me all of the time. Every tiny little thing is just why? And now, okay, well, there's a little bit of balance in everything. To exist in this world, to have any sort of light, you need a shadow. You need a opposite. I think it, who said it? I think it was Mo's, like Maddie Mo. There has to be a opposite energy to the energy you get. Like, say, and you might not always see it. Say you win like $1 million. You don't see all of like the pain and struggle of every single little person it took to like get that $1 million. You know what I mean? Like from the lottery. You don't see where that $1 million came from. You don't see every minute action that contributed to that $1 million. You just get the reward. That's an example of like, okay, so like a lot of energy went into one thing and it was given to a person that may or may not have deserved it, but it's a lot of positive energy, a lot of positive good in that person's life. You know what I mean? So I can't weigh the future. Like, that was one of my videos. I can't weigh the future. I can't weigh action. So for a long time, but I had to figure that out through like I mean, everyone has a control problem. Like, you want to control something. So I made a video saying, oh, we can't weigh the future, and you need to listen to that, because you can't judge the future. So some people, like, as a kid, like, you can't weigh the future, you can't weigh action, you can't control, you don't have the control over what every little action you do is. So you don't know what you deserve. Okay, you don't know, like, what, for a long time it's like, why do we deserve this? Why do we deserve all this pain and sorrow? And what the fuck did we do? You know what I mean? And it's just like, I can't weigh actions like that. I don't have the eternal eye to see the weight of every minute action. Only God has that. So I can't, like, when I see horrible things now, I'm almost more content, and I almost have to be like, there's a lot of evil in this world because there's a lot of good in this world. And low-key, that high-key just sounds like those Christian people that are like, you know, it's just the way that God intended it. That's how I feel. And you know what? I fucking hate and point at those people, because it's just like, when I was a kid, I was viscerally upset when I heard my family being like when I asked, I was like, okay, so if a girl gets, or if a girl, sorry, I'm gonna have to blur that, if a girl gets molested, or if a girl, like, suffers sexually or something, does that mean she deserved it? What? And then now as an adult, like, that's a super hateful way, like, and then they would be like, well, technically, yeah, like, not technically, but like shit happens, like, because that's like, as a kid, people don't deserve anything. Like, it's so natural for the human mind to assume that we deserve something or not, because there has to be justice in the world, right? We assume there has to be justice because I truly believe before our cells got put on here, we used to live in a place where there was harmony. Like, if we lived in heaven, or we were with God and we were with spirit, then we were at peace. We were at fucking peace. And then we get in a place where justice technically doesn't exist until you die. That's how I felt as a kid. And then I was like, wow, all of these disgusting, horrible things happen, and then why? And then a part of me was, and then now I feel more content in the fact, and it's like, now I feel more content, and it's like, well, all of awful things happen because even in Buddhism, I mean, Siddhartha, he was like, strife is regardless, pain and suffering is regardless, it's your mindset. For a long time as a kid, I didn't have anyone saying that to me. I assumed that everyone deserved this shit. Really, you can't even measure if someone deserves something or not, because that's not even your job. Regardless whether someone deserves something or not, it's not your job to measure that. As a human. And that's something I only found content in. That's something that I only found peace in when I kept asking questions. Sorry if I was out of focus for any of these videos. You're just gonna have to deal. And this is gonna be a longer video, so I appreciate you guys sticking around and being here. If you know, it's nice for a longer video. Yeah, and you don't have to believe in what I believe in. I don't want you to be like, well, I'm monotheistic and I think you're worshiping the devil. I don't care. Honestly, you could be a devil worshiper, and as long as you aren't harming anyone and being happy and being fulfilled in your life, I will 100% and 10 understand you, because maybe your version of God is my version of God, just with a different name. You know, that's what, like, actually in Yoruba culture, I learned about how African slaves were taken, like, all the way, like, during the African slave trade, taken to, like, the Caribbeans and, like, South America, like, and how all of their practices kind of divided and spread, and how some Orisha, like Eshu, the god of the crossroads, became messengers to the divine, and angels like Michael. So I think that's super interesting, of like how of how people have mixed around the world and how people have traveled and how traditions have collided and come together. You see reflections of God like come together as well. I mean, I went on a trip recently to the Celine to a missions church or whatever, and it was one that Logan's British aunts had went to when they were younger, and it was super old, super old. And they actually had a museum dedicated to the old native people that were there. And we all know what they did to the natives, all right? And if they didn't assimilate or become Catholics, they were basically killed or run off of their land. And they had a gravesite dedicated to the first native man that was conformed Catholicism, and they gave him respect for it. And in my heart, I was very off-put, very sad, because I was like, of course, of course these beautiful people with their culture were basically pushed away and off of their land, and all of these horrible things happened to them just for what? Because your settlers wanted to travel? But because people wanted more things, they wanted more food, they wanted more land, they wanted more gold, they wanted more silver, they wanted just more, and people had to suffer for it. And then I saw the murals. There's beautiful paintings with red ochre and natural paints along the walls from the Celine people, who believe that actually connected with the Catholic belief of baptism of Christ, because they believe that water purified people. And a very unique practice came about of using seashells as baptizing people and giving that connection to the water, and how the Celine people actually had a place in the community. Again, not even just building this mission, but building a connection with God just in a different way, and also sharing their practices with the settlers as well, and honestly deepening that connection with spirit with them. So one part of me is, of course, so that's sort of how I'm trying to see the world, of just yin and yang, just bad and negative energy in the flow with the good, and bad and what I judge as bad energy might not even be that in God's eyes, if he had eyes. It deepened, not even deepened, it widened the exploration of the understanding of spirit. It deepened the understanding of spirit to these native people that would have never understood that across the world their practices and their beliefs were also being reflected. So did it deepen the understanding of spirituality for these people? Did it deepen my understanding for spirituality? Yeah. Do I feel like they had to suffer for that? I can't even weigh that. About 5 different times this recording is really fucking annoying. I fucking hate this shit. This is the yin and yang of my stupid fucking camera. I can record and talk to people online, except it turns off every 10 to 15 minutes and irritates the hell out of me. It's the give and take of the universe. And that's what I literally had to start convincing myself over. At this point, what do people deserve started becoming the wrong question. Instead of okay, so how did this, instead my questions were okay, but how did this tragedy lead to something more beautiful? When I explored the Celine people, I was very upset. I was ugh, they didn't deserve this. And then but during the journey, it was just okay, but that's not the point. What did you learn from it? What do you see? What do you see now as you're experiencing it now? Because actions from the past reflect completely different stories in the future. They are completely different depending on who's interpreting them and what they mean. When I see horrible things, when I start to my way of coping has become better. I feel like my way of coping with the way the world is spiritually, for a long time, it was why there's no justice in the world. And then now, every day, I'm seeing it more and more. Like, I see more and more justice and purity in the world, and I'm like, but why? Like, what makes me think that justice can even exist? And people were like, it's the gods, it's the angels. And I'm like, but why is it the gods or the angels? And then it's like, well, because it's a derivative of God. They're a reflection of God. Like, it's not just God. Like, so I know this is a weird video, but I'm trying to explain, like, my spirituality thought process here. Like, it was like, okay, so why is there justice in the world? Is there a reflection of this divine being whenever I prayed to this divine being, it never felt like it was there? And it was like, okay, well, this divine being is, if you truly lay out the definition of what you believe this divine being is, really talking to him as you're gonna have to talk to a reflection of him, because you are a reflection of him. And over time, as I like broke that down, over time, you're gonna have to break it down in a completely different way. You just have to break it down in a way that you believe in, that makes you content and peaceful and happy. And if you have, for a long time, I was just in the phase of just wanting to use the tools, but not understanding why they worked. Like, say, like pendulums, or like things that you just see online, like tarot cards, pendulums, dowsing rods, anything, crystals, the herbs, anything. It's just like, yes, you can use those as tools, but I wanted to know why. I wanted to know, what if I was praying to a god, why did it work? What is the reasoning behind that? And my reasoning is that, oh, well, it has to be a derivative of some greater being that technically doesn't even really exist. That does but doesn't exist, because me, the observer, is him, but then everything around me is it too. And the way I had to justify like individual spirits for a long time, I was just like, I believe in spirit gods, but like, what the fuck are you? Like, how does it, for a long time I was like, how does it work in the spirit world? Like, I just wanted to know, like, I just wanted to peer through, I just wanted to see it. Like, I for a long time, I just got mad. I was like, fuck it, I'll never know. I'll just be discontent. And then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be unhappy. I don't want to be unhappy. Well, Maya, why can't you just be happy fulfilling your dreams and getting like every material thing you ever wanted? Because from a young age, I knew that's not what it was about. Getting here and getting a big beautiful house and a big fancy dress and all that shit, like that's not what this is about, and I always knew that. So I was like, what the fuck is this about? Like, I need to know. Like, ever since I was a kid, I want to create, I want to produce things, I want to make music, I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to make art, I want to draw, I want to make jewelry, I want to make YouTube videos. Why do I have all of the design? What is the point? Once I'm done with all this, what would I want? What would it all be for? And I had to find that. And you have to find that, because that is what drives your purpose. That is what drives your action. You know, I know this was a long video, and it was a long tangent. It started off with one thing, and then we kind of just went on a huge cycle. Usually my videos are quite put together, but I'm not feeling that right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling that. Anyways, peace cannot be studied. It has to be understood. You have to feel it once or twice just to know what you're looking for. And I think you could do that through meditation, and not no fucking 15 to 20 minute meditation. I mean sitting there for a while, okay? Sitting there for a while. And using your ears, okay? And if you're deaf, using your eyes, okay? I hope this didn't come off as too weird. I hope this wasn't long and too drawn out. Like, if you wanted a longer video from me, congratulations. If you didn't and you like my short form content, wait for the next video. I love you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!